What's up, everybody? Unfiltered right here podcast coming at you live with the crew today. I just going to say before we get into this, I need to apologize because last week we did not do one of these strictly because, well, I was under the weather, and I honestly think I had what they call the common cold, which today would be called COVID. But either way, I was not feeling well on Wednesday night, woke up Thursday under the weather, and I asked this crew if they wanted to do it, and they were like, we're not prepared. Help. So we decided to just wait. So here we are today. Got all my crew with me. I got Eric to my left, probably your right, Austin to your left, and then further even left from him is Becca.
He keeps me the furthest away. I know there's a reason for this.
Yeah, well, smell.
Your conspiracy stuff.
Arm's length.
Any case, so today we have a couple topics that we're just gonna really mix it up today. A couple different topics. One, I'm gonna start with this one. This one is just I've come across this article the other day, and but before I go any further, I do want to say to all of you that if you ever have something that you want us to discuss, you want our opinion, you want my opinion, you want something biblical, whatever it is, or you just want to know about something political or something cultural or social, that's what we're here for. We're here to just talk about those things in an unfiltered way, giving you our opinion, giving you our thoughts, giving what we know, and we will do that. So you just got to let us know in the chat, in the chat. Let us know in the chat, okay? But today we're going to talk about, here's the headline, Polio Paul, the Texas man who spent 70-plus years in an iron lung, remembered for his inspiration and resilience.
Polio Paul.
What a name.
Wow.
Polio Paul. This is a North Texas man is being remembered around the world for his inspiration and resilience. Paul Alexander lived in an iron lung for more than 70 years after contracting polio. Known by many on social media as Polio Paul, he died Monday in Dallas Hospital at the age of 78. Wow. First of all, I just looked at this and thought to myself, I had to look it up. Yeah. I didn't even know this was a thing. Becca, you're like, oh my gosh, I know all about this. Yeah,
I do.
So how do you know about this guy?
I don't honestly know. I feel like no matter what, it's kind of weird that I knew so much about this guy and about polio and iron lungs. But I guess maybe I saw him on Facebook at one point. But I mean, compared to probably most people, I feel like I'm pretty well versed on the iron lung, why, like how it works and why people get put into it. And I don't know. I just like fell in a rabbit hole one day probably, and for some reason remember it.
We absolutely know that, this whole thing is from polio. Obviously, there is no known polio today in our country for sure because
you're vaccinated.
Because you have a vaccine for it. But I mean, literally, I haven't heard of anybody getting polio recently.
Very rare.
Yeah,
I think they've really just, it's gone away. But either way, 78 years ago, obviously, it was an issue. And I look at, have you seen it?
Yeah, I did. I saw the video Eric sent over.
This is insane. Like, for me, the first thing I thought of is I'm claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And I cannot imagine even wanting a life in this machine like this man did. Now, listen, I'm telling you, I am impressed at what this guy has accomplished. I'm looking at the video. This guy is literally typing books using a device in his mouth, typing on a keyboard, looking sideways, laying on his back. The guy has got a law degree. He has written books. He has done, several other things. Those are just a few things that I caught. I'm not on the right article, I don't think, that gave me all the information originally. But either way, I just thought this is really interesting. My first question is this. Would you guys want a life like that? Now, not that you have the choice, but I'm saying in his position, if you got polio and they told you we could keep you alive on this machine, but you got to basically be in this. This guy was in this machine probably 90% of his life. He only was able to get out of the machine and be wheeled around for like 1 to 2 hours of a day at the most. Oof. And I'm just saying, I'm impressed with the guy's mindset that he was going to basically prove to the world that he wasn't going to let this thing keep him down. Yeah.
I just wonder if he read Rick Warren's book, A Purpose-Driven Life.
Oh my God.
Because if you have that definition in your life, if you have that purpose, then nothing's going to stop you. But man,
I don't know that would be something I'd be wanting to submit my body to, just for the claustrophobic thing.
I'm telling you, man.
Oh, yeah. You know when you lay in bed and your blankets get trapped around you and you get super freaked out? You would have to be used to that, like, all the time.
Yeah.
No. It's worse than that. I mean, when you go into an MRI.
Yeah.
It sounds like a spaceship.
I can't even do that.
You have to be on the...
They either have to knock me out or I have to be on...
I can finally do it.
No.
I mean, I've had to get one probably once a year now for the last 10 years because of the stuff, but I can finally do it where I'm just like, especially if they put music in the headphones.
Yeah.
But man, if they
don't
do
I
that,
did have to do it one time, and it was for a while, and I had Joyce Meyer teaching in my ears the whole time and it didn't go well because I moved constantly, and they kept saying, Mr. Gaszak, you need to stop moving. And I said, you don't understand. I feel like I'm in a prison right now.
Yeah.
You're lucky I'm even in this tube. And it was miserable. It was the worst hour and a half of my life, I think.
So
to imagine this,
Yeah.
I mean, to imagine what this guy was able to do. I found the article. I am just, it's insane.
I want to know how he was able to get out of his thing. Like, how could they wheel him around? How was he breathing?
And if they could do that for 1 to 2 hours, why couldn't they find a solution that...
Yeah, the whole point of the machine is to simulate air pressure to simulate breathing. Or I'm sorry, it manipulates air pressure to simulate breathing because of the paralysis of your diaphragm. So if they
I bet they could stick him on oxygen or something, though.
Yeah, but they're doing, like, chest compressions the whole time? Like,
no.
What is it that's...
They have
I'm reading
this bag that you can...
Oh, like the...
Yeah, but I don't know how I don't know.
I don't know.
I know, I need to know. I don't know that part.
Graduated, at 21, he became the first person to graduate from a Dallas high school without physically attending the class.
Dang.
He got into Southern Methodist University in Dallas, and after repeated rejections by the university administration, then into law school at the University of Texas at Austin.
Law school.
Sorry. For decades, Paul was a lawyer in Dallas and Fort Worth, representing clients in court in a three-piece suit and modified wheelchair that held his paralyzed body upright.
What?
Wait, what?
So he worked?
Yeah.
He had a job.
He was a lawyer representing clients. And then at the end of the day, he had to go back and get in this iron tank.
Wow.
I need to know.
You guys need to go look it up. Literally, you need to go look up polio.
Crazy.
Just Google polio Paul and read about this guy. It is an amazing story. It freaks me out because I don't know how he did it. I mean, listen.
That's pretty cool.
You guys aren't going to probably like what I'm about to say.
Oh, God. Okay.
How is
Good
this
warning.
turning controversial already?
But I will tell you this right now. Got to get these glasses off for a minute. I will tell you this. I am the guy that feels like if I am in a situation like this and I want to end my life because it's going to be a miserable life for me, my family, and everybody around me, all the work, I should have that choice legally.
I think that is a choice.
Agree. No, it's not. Legal.
Physician-assisted suicide is legal.
Only in certain states.
Yeah, so move to that state. Get it done.
Yeah, but there's still
Roll
restrictions.
your iron lung there.
Yeah, okay, that's
There's
true.
a lot of
there is a lot of red tape
parameters.
around that.
And that's a conversation that I think can be had because the way I look at it, it's my life.
Yeah.
I should get to choose what the crap I want to do with my life. If it's not directly affecting anyone else, okay, I hear this all the time with abortion. Well, it's my body. Well, it is your body, ladies, but at the same time, it took another man to create what's inside of you, so you shouldn't be the only one to make that choice.
Yeah. This
now,
is a little
granted,
different,
okay, we're getting
obviously.
into a sticky situation with rape and incest. I get all
Medical
that.
conditions.
Okay, that's a whole nother thing. Yep. I'm talking about the majority of stuff. That whole thing, it's my body. But it's no different than vaccines. I should get to choose. It's no different than the medicines I want to put in my body. And it should be no different if I have a major illness and I don't want to go through life with that major illness.
But what if God wants you to?
That's a different question altogether.
Because you have the cultural factor, then you have the biblical.
I don't think that you would know what you would want to do unless you're in that situation. Because, like, for me, just talking about it, I don't think I'd want to sign up for that.
I don't want to be a vegetable, and I know that probably is the wrong thing to say, but I'm just unfiltered.
I don't either.
Bottom line is this.
Eric hates
vegetables.
vegetables.
I hate vegetables.
I don't want to be in a place where my family has to feed me, and here's the deal. I want to be very respectful because there's a couple families in our church right now that are going through this with their kids that are paraplegics. They cannot function without somebody taking care of them. They're on, the way they eat, the whole 9 yards. And my heart goes out to those people.
Sure.
It takes a special person to be able to do that, and my hat goes off to them. I commend them, and I would never try to change their mind on what they're doing. Me personally, though, I don't want my family to have to do that for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that gives them a life, and I feel like I don't have a life. That's my personal opinion. And that's what I think about with this guy. Now, this guy made the best of it, man.
Yeah,
I am amazed at this guy, and that is his prerogative. But for me, it's like, nope, just kill me now. Like, dead seriously. I don't want to live like that.
Yeah.
Where do you guys feel? How do you feel about it?
I think there's just off the top of my head, I think there's a difference between a vegetative state, which is not this. Like this, he has a full functioning brain. Yeah. He's cognitive.
All he's got.
Well, no, he's cognitive.
Contributing to society.
He's contributing to society. He is, I don't know what the setup was, but I think for me, I'm impressed. I didn't know this was even a thing. First of all, and I cannot believe. Here's what I can't believe. I don't know enough about this, so correct me if I'm wrong. But I can't believe technology in the medical
hasn't advanced.
World hasn't. I mean, they have these devices that they can now pump your heart if you have a heart condition.
Maybe because there's not enough of a need, because it's really like a polio thing that does this.
Okay, that's true. So that would make a lot of sense. But I think for me, it's not something I would. I don't know how to speak to it because I'm not in that situation, but I don't think I'd be for it.
Well,
I'm impressed.
I will say, I don't know how vulnerable to get.
Yeah.
It's unfiltered, right?
It is unfiltered.
There was definitely a point, like in my journey of these diseases that I have, that it got really, really bad. Like I got down to like 115 pounds. I looked like a skeleton, right? And I'll never forget one night, I'm just like, I'm sitting at home and I just look at Chelsea and I'm like, I've never thought, like, this is not how I want to live.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I was like, it'd be better if I died right now. My kids could grow up without a dad or with a different dad. At least now, while they're young, and you could move on and blah, 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 blah. And, I did get to that point where it was like, I don't want this. But then, you push past that, because for me, it was very selfish. Because my family, they did need me.
Yeah.
My wife did need me, and she, so beyond that, but now obviously I'm doing awesome and I'm doing very well, but I do think about that all the time where I'm like, man, if I would have let that just completely, like, because I didn't want to live like that. I mean, I'm in pain every single day.
Sure.
I'm complaining all the time because I'm just in pain all the time, and nothing's working, nothing's getting better. I'm like, well, might as well just end this thing right now, right? And and now I look back on that, I'm like, man, if I wouldn't have said anything and I would have just held that in and done something that I was thinking, like, I love my life right now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know.
Well,
it's a good perspective.
I mean, think of the impact that, if you would have gone through with that, think of the impact that you wouldn't have had on this world.
Right.
And I mean, I think that is our God-given purpose, and however you want to square that. I mean, that at the end of the day, what we do with it, God's either able to use it or he turns everything for good.
Right.
So
it's that song. I forgot who sings that song. It's like, there's gotta be more to life chasing out every temporary.
I don't know that. You got
You know,
worship pastor over here. I don't know that.
I was like, there's got to be more to life.
Yeah.
And after finding that and,
Yep.
and believing in that, it was way easier to push past that. So this guy did it, man.
Well, and there's different
found a purpose.
situations. Like yours even still to some degree is like a journey. Whereas like you get in a car accident and they're like, hey, listen, if you go into a coma or a vegetative state and they're like, they may or may not come back. Like Jake and I have been very clear with each other. Like if the doctors don't believe that we would return to our way of life as we know it within reason, there's certain things. He and I are both very clear. Like we are each other's, medical directives and all that stuff with like being in the military. It's like conversations we've had to have of like, if something were to happen, but that's based off of like a traumatic situation or an accident versus like a but like a journey through an illness or something like that. So
Yeah.
it's hard to it's not like a one size fits all. But
I look at people like, some of these, I can't even remember his name, but he's like a motivational speaker, right? He doesn't have any arms, legs.
Yeah.
Nick.
Like
Nick
Oh,
something.
He came to my school.
And you're like,
that's
Yep.
cool.
you're like, that dude.
Yeah.
And I look at that, I'm like, no, kill me now. But then he's like crushing it
Yeah.
Yeah.
in
Well,
life.
it's also all he's ever known.
Yep.
Like we've known life differently.
Yeah.
This guy, Paul,
That's all
he
he's
would have
known.
got polio at like 7 years old or something super young.
Yep.
So it also looks a little different as
yeah,
well.
it does.
There's a
true.
picture of him when he was 8 years old in the ironclad, and he has a paint stick in his mouth, and he's painting an Indian picture with paint, and it looks really good. I'm impressed with what the guy has
Yeah.
done. That's the whole point of this. On the
Yeah,
flip side of
crazy.
this, I think it's one of those things where and here's why. I obviously was not created to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I didn't go through that.
Right.
I think people are, maybe God does. There are people that are gifted by God to allow them to go through the things that they go through. And there's other people that just don't have that gifting. That's the way I look at it. I just
Yeah.
can't fathom what the guy has done. And I mean, man.
So what would be your perspective then on like we were talking about abortions, like there's two parties involved in that. I mean, for your generalized, one that
Majority.
can't just be a decision of one, it's got to be a decision of both.
Mhm.
But in a situation like this, when you have a wife and you have a family, that's
Is it
it's
truly your
not.
call?
Is it truly my body, my choice, or is it truly it's my body, our choice?
Me personally,
I'm just asking.
yeah, me, my body, my choice.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because I'm the one that's got to lay there.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's got to
Yeah.
suffer through it all. They got to suffer looking at me, and they may be able to go through that, but I can't go through that. And to me, I look at it like, listen, and this is just how I look at it. And I may, listen, I'm not there, so my mind could completely change
Right,
if I'm
right,
there,
right,
okay?
right.
You
Yeah.
really can't 100% know what
Yeah.
you would do
Yeah.
until you're in it.
Right.
But in this side of where I'm at, I would just be like, this is where I'm at, and your life will be better off without me. Okay? Without you having to tend to me every waking moment, your life will, I want a better life for you. That's what I would, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
That's my personality, though. I am not,
Yeah.
and I know people say, well, that sounds very selfish. Well, to me, it doesn't sound selfish.
Yeah.
If I want you to have a better life, to not have to stay by my side, you can't have a life like a normal person. And again, I got to be careful because there's probably people out there that are dealing with this, that are
Yeah.
doing it. And that is okay. If that is you, that is okay because that is
Yeah,
your
yeah.
choice. I want to make that very clear. But for me, it's like, I don't want my wife to have to deal with that. I would rather her marry another man where she can have a normalized marriage and family and not have to be at my bedside feeding me every single day, bathing me, washing me, clothing me, everything. No, absolutely not. And I don't, it's my choice because I'm the one that has to suffer through that.
Yeah.
We've talked to my mom about this concept because my mom has like a terminal illness. She's had stage 4 cancer now for over 5 years, which her initial prognosis was like 6 months. So it's like a miracle, like where she is. Doctors, can't explain it, but I'm like, well, I can. That's a different conversation.
True.
But in that, when she was first diagnosed, the conversation, like she asked all of us kids and my dad, what do you guys want me to do? And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you what I would do, but I was like, at the end of the day, we're going to support you. But I'm like, it really is up to you. If you want to fight it, fight it. If you don't, I understand. At the end of the day, it was about her because she was the one going through it.
Yeah.
Yes, it affects the rest of us, but I think, so I guess I'm on more the same lane as Pastor Jason. It's their body. I'm like, you're the one who has to put yourself and subject yourself to treatments and whatever else. So I'm going to support whatever you want.
This life is temporary. This life is temporary. If we're all Christians, you're going to see me one day again for a lot longer than you're seeing me on this earth.
Yep.
And I don't want to suffer on the earth, and I don't want you to have to suffer. And so I get into situations as a pastor where people will come to me because a person has cancer and they don't want to do treatments. And the family is irate.
Yep.
They could save you. They can extend your life. You can get more time. And the person says, but the life that is extended to me is miserable.
Yep.
I'm suffering. I'm in pain. I'm vomiting. I lose my hair. I lose weight, all these things. And the family, they don't care about all that. They
just want them here.
They just want them here. And to me, that can be very selfish because you're not thinking about the person that actually has to go through hell for the treatments that say, I don't want to do that. I'm going to do the best I can with what time I have. And let's enjoy the time I have. And when God takes me, you'll see me again one day.
Yep.
Because too many times as human beings, we get wrapped up in this world, in this time, with this everything. And it's like, no. The long haul is eternity in heaven. That's what I like to think about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, you're going to see me again, and I'm going to be healed and whole again. Yeah. And so you enjoy your time here while you got it. Let me go home to Jesus and be with him, and I'll see you when you get there.
Yep.
Yeah. I also think it could depend on the stage of life that you're in too.
I agree.
There's
a lot of factors. It can't be 100%.
You got adult children that does look, I think to me that looks a lot different. Or it could be swinging the other way too. It's like if they're not young enough to understand, then it does look a little bit different even in that. So
my wife and I have already made this decision because there's today it's 1 in 5 men have cancer and 1 in 3 women have cancer cells in their body. They're just not activated.
Yep.
It takes something to activate it. We believe that sugar is the number 1 cause of cancer, okay? So the more sugar you eat, depending on your body, depending on how your makeup is, sometimes it can defeat it, sometimes it can't, it activates it, whatever. That's our opinion. We had said that if we had ever gotten any kind of cancer, unless it's a particular, like breast cancer today, is very... they have got a handle on breast cancer to a place where you have a very, very high chance of surviving with surgeries and different things. So I would be all about that. But if you get a cancer, my wife and I have both said that neither one of us will ever do any treatment for cancer. Mm-hmm. We are going to live the life that we have with what it is, and we're going to die when that time comes, but we're going to live the best that we can with the time that we have. And here's what I do know. I know, and if you go look at this statistically, I think you'll find the same thing. With the people that I know that did not do treatment, they lived longer and a better life than those that went through treatment.
Yeah. Because
the treatment, everything in that chemo, it kills your whole entire body. It kills your immune system. It kills everything. So now you got to take medicine to get you back, and then your body's so susceptible to any kind of disease and bacteria and infections that's what starts killing people. So to me, I'd rather just say, okay, the doctor says you got 3 months to live, but we could extend your life to 8 years if you do X, Y, Z. Well, I've seen that actually go the opposite of what they say because of these reasons. I would rather have the 3 lives of very healthy, and maybe the last 6 months would be the hard stuff, than to have 2-3 years of nothing but major sickness and illness and challenges.
Leads to other problems and everything else.
And that's just, so we've talked about all this.
I hope I never have to find out.
Me too.
Like crazy.
That's what I'll say.
They literally
I smoked for 10 years, so that kind of stuff makes me nervous.
We've ordered your machine, so.
Okay. I am not doing that. I'll just tell you right
your
now.
Your machine.
My iron
Your
lung.
iron
That is awful. I ain't doing it. I'll just tell you right now. I'll operate at a diminished capacity.
He's like Trelloing with like one hand.
No.
I think you get into these subjects, it's very difficult because everybody has a different opinion. And that is
sure.
okay.
Experience,
I think it's okay. me personally, that's just where I'm at. So.
Well, also, you know what's going to give us cancer? All the pesticides that they sprayed in the streets during polio.
All right, crazy lady.
Well, yeah, but this just happened recently.
Everybody forgets about this. They're talking about it now.
Right now they're spraying stuff in the air. Right now, they just did it in Franklin County.
Who?
The government.
Yeah.
Who?
I don't know.
I normally subscribe to these sorts of things, but
I should research.
I haven't heard anything about this.
Yeah, did you hear about the caucus that also just
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah, that's what I was over at the Republican.
I didn't
deal,
know.
and they
Did
were-
you go?
I was there, and they were.
Oh wow, Pastor was there.
They were fighting for it, man.
I didn't think you were there.
Interesting.
Thought you missed
Let's
it.
let's talk about another fad trad. It is a trad.
Lord.
It's a fad trend that is happening right now with young ladies, and it's called a trad wife.
Ew.
A trad wife. Have you heard of it, Eric?
No, haven't heard of
I
it.
mean, the concept sounds amazing for a guy.
Yeah,
It's just not biblical.
TRAD stands for traditional.
Yeah, traditional. A traditional wife. So let me
Traditional
let me
wife.
read. Get my
I mean,
glasses back on.
if you want to just cook and clean for me, that's
That's
fine.
it. It says the trendy trad wife movement. What's this all about, really? The term trad wife, which denotes the view of a traditional wife with traditional values, was originally displayed about 6 years ago when several millennial and Zoomer housewives took to social media and showcased their idealistic, domesticated lifestyles. These young ladies began to glamorize the iconic all-American 1950s woman as they posted pictures donning the classic fit and flare dress and attached apron and pump high highs, whatever that is. Either way,
I don't know
High
what that
heels?
is.
no, it says high highs.
Well, that's a
Maybe it's an
typo.
error. So I looked at this. I looked at this lady that kind of got popular and where it all went. And I will just. So here's the thing. I have nothing against, and I think it's great because my wife and I years ago decided that she was going to be a stay-at-home mom and be a housewife. She was
Trad
going to be a homemaker. She wasn't going to be a trad wife, but she was going to be a homemaker. That's her title. She did work for Joyce Meyer Ministries for 6 years, but that's the only other job she's had besides now helping here at the church. But she is a homemaker, and she always has been, and that was what we wanted, for her to be able to stay at home and do the duty of what a wife and a mom is supposed to be, which is take care of the house, take care of the kids, clean, cook. And there's nothing wrong today if people don't want to do that. There's a lot of women that are amazing and they have careers, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's just what my wife and I had decided. What these women have done, and they have taken this to a level that is almost cultish, in my opinion. So instead of God being the number one person in their life, it's their husbands.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So they're worshiping their husbands in a weird way versus worshiping and honoring God in the way that the Bible says to love our spouses and what that looks like. So they try to portray this being a biblical thing by using Proverbs 31 and Titus 2, but they aren't focusing on the Ephesian side of this when it comes to what does a wife look like biblically and in a marriage and stuff. And I didn't know. I literally came across this article on christianheadlines.com. I subscribe to that because they have some really cool articles. And this popped up, and I got to thinking, just leave it to the millennials, right? Again, trying to mess with society.
I feel like it's Gen Z.
Why do we get the blame for this?
Because you guys are always searching.
What? I didn't do
No,
anything.
You guys are
Definitely
always
Gen
searching
Z.
for something.
What's
Like
a-
you're always you're the first generation that came up with all the questions that you had to ask. You couldn't
Well,
believe anybody.
That's because we had
Technology did
access to
Well,
resources.
whose fault was that?
Technology did that.
It was
Boomer
from-
Bill Gates.
Okay, what's a Zoomer? What is a Zoomer?
Yeah.
I've never heard that before. What's a Zoomer?
It's got to
Good
be
question.
something with Gen Z.
Gen Z,
Let me
Z,
look while
Like
you
a
got-
boomer, but a
Boomer Zoomer.
boomer zoomer. I'll say this.
What?
I saw this on Instagram.
What would that be called? A Zoomer?
Zoomer term?
I saw this on Instagram and I thought it was a joke.
Yeah,
The
Oh,
trad?
really?
I
Yeah.
have two. Where it's like I wake my husband up every morning with
Yeah.
a foot
Yeah.
massage and blah blah blah. I'm
And I'm
like,
sitting here going,
Ooh.
what?
A
Are these
Zoomer?
people making fun of because Christians traditionally do subscribe to gender roles, traditional gender roles,
right,
right? The wife cooks, the wife cleans, that's traditionally what has happened. The man goes off to work. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You kind of described that with mom,
Yep.
but it's not this subservient thing. It's not that mom worships you and is like,
Well, she should.
here, okay, yeah. Well, I'm not going to get into that.
I want to be called me Lord.
me,
Me lord.
me Lord. But
When I walk in the house, I want to hear, "Would you like a drink, me Lord?"
I legit thought it was a joke. So I think this just is a slap in the face to just being a normal person.
It's just going too
It's just
far.
weird. I don't
Yeah.
get it, man. I don't even know what to
It's
say.
extreme. That's
It's
what
extreme.
people do.
Everything. It's like
There you
we
go.
talked about this morning. Like the
I'm like,
pendulum
just
freaking
balance.
swings out of control. It's
I mean,
ridiculous.
I don't cook. I don't.
This one's swinging like Katy Perry in Wrecking Ball.
I don't.
Or was it Miley Cyrus?
It was
It's
Miley
Miley
Cyrus.
Cyrus.
Miley
I
You say Katy
personally,
Perry?
I personally don't cook. I don't cook. It's not because I don't want to cook. Actually, it is. I don't want to cook.
Does
Careful,
Kinsey cook?
careful. Your wife's in the
My
room.
wife is
Oh.
producing, but
Does she cook?
she cooks.
Does she cook good?
She's if you look,
Cook
I'll
well?
explain it. She cooks amazing. Like she
Good
is.
answer.
Oh, I would.
Did you
I
see
would
the
tell
twitch
you
in
if it
his eye?
wasn't good.
He's starting to blink.
No, she's amazing. She made this chicken gnocchi.
I noticed you have this growth on your cheek.
Stop calling that out, my lord. If you want to close
My
up,
lord.
if you want to, if you want a close up of this, just email me.
You almost
Austin
got
at-
it. It's me, Lord.
Yeah,
Me
whatever.
lord.
Anywho, she cooks, but I do the dishes. I clean.
Right.
I clean
Yeah.
up
Unless
around the
they're
house.
in
my
a
gosh.
sink full of water.
Unless
Well,
they are in my dirty dishwater
I'll
right
tell you
now
what.
because my dishwasher broke last night. But
The-
I'm ticked.
I'll tell you what, when I mean, it took me a long time to get over this part of myself, but like that thought of like, I get off work and I'm just going home,
Mm-hmm.
because if my wife is stay at home, she never gets off of work.
Sure.
Right. And so now I get off work, I go home and I help shut things down so she can get off
Yep.
way earlier, and so it's just a mindset thing for me. I'm like, if I can go home and get her off earlier, then she could get me off later.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I love the way you're thinking.
Unfiltered.
I love it.
Unfiltered.
Absolute trauma.
he's
Unfiltered.
Hey, he's married. This is
Unfiltered.
biblical. But here's the deal.
Unfiltered.
I love it.
This thing,
We need-
jumped off the track.
It
I
did.
love
I'm
it.
so
All right,
sorry.
listen.
My God.
I'm the only
whatever.
girl in the group. I get to talk about the trad wife deal because
Okay.
here's
Yes.
the deal.
Okay.
Please tell us your
There
trad
is-
wife travesty.
We're all saying we don't want that. and-
Correct.
I'm
No,
just kidding.
I have the best perspective.
Okay,
First
all
of
right.
all, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Have you people lost your
Oh,
minds?
my
It's
Lord.
just
I'm
sex.
traumatized.
It was just the way it was.
I'm so sorry.
He kept just saying
Okay,
it. I-
Pastor,
I'll get her
I'm
off
trying
of work.
to get the train back on the
Oh my
tracks.
gosh, okay.
We're on
This
the
is
tracks.
I love you, babe.
Terrible,
I love you, babe.
And the tracks are that there should be respect for homemakers. And I think what happened was we went from this, like, women shouldn't be in the workplace back in, like, the 50s. And then women
Right.
were in the workplace. And then now we're in the workplace. And now if you are a homemaker, you're talked down upon. So now that
Yeah.
pendulum
Yeah.
has once again swung. For me, I understand it's my responsibility to craft the environment in my home. Right now, that environment really is about me and my dog.
True.
And your
Um,
fluff ball.
And
Tilly.
Tilly and my two cats.
Oh.
But I know that when Jake comes home, it's gonna have to once again shift, and that's always one of the hardest parts. Is because he'll leave for extended periods of time or whatever. But at the end of the day, I think what happened is they're having such a hard time that they can't find the healthy balance, and so instead, what these trad wives have done is gone completely off the tracks, the other direction. There is so much value to a homemaker, just like there is to someone who goes out and works every day.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, everybody just get over yourselves. Do
Right.
what you feel called to do and what is best for your home. And stop freaking scrolling on social media and making
Yeah.
everything out to be a
I
competition.
mean, as a husband, if I
Yep.
can provide for my wife the ability for her to just do what she wants to do,
Yep.
for her, I mean, my wife's a hustler, man. She is going and hustling and doing all the.
She's an
like,
entrepreneur.
She's an entrepreneur,
is. She's
starting
awesome.
starting things that she wants to do. If I'm able to provide that for her,
Absolutely.
while she's also taking care of our house, man, that's a win for me.
I agree.
when we got married, I mean, we sat down with our counselor and we went through the things that we are good at, the things that we enjoy, the things we don't enjoy, and that's what we did. So I mean, that's kind of like, you'll cook. I'll
Why
do
is
the
Kenzie
dishes.
shaking her head over here?
Stop.
I was just kidding.
Hand the camera over there. So I think that's more of a modern way of doing that.
Sure.
I think even 20 years ago, that's not the way it was done. It was
I mean,
assumed.
the selfish side of me loves a trad wife.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I
Sure.
mean, the
No, that
selfish
makes
side of
sense.
me, like,
Sure.
yeah, if you want to,
Well,
like,
here's what I
that's
think.
all you want to
Yeah.
do, sweet.
Yeah.
First of all, the wife's responsibility, her number one role is the husband. She should be taking care of the husband in whatever way that is, whether it's food on the table, whether it's keeping the house clean, whether it's grocery shopping, taking care of the kids, keeping order. The wife is responsible for the atmosphere in the home.
Yep.
That's her job. And so, because when a husband has gone to work, he's in a whole different atmosphere. When he comes home, he wants to come home to an atmosphere that is loving and calm. And it doesn't mean that it's not going to be chaotic when you have kids. Of course it is. But there's control there. And then also, the wife obviously taking care of her husband in the intimacy side of things. And it goes both ways. We're talking specifically about the wife in this moment because we're talking about trad wives. When you take that out of balance, out of context of God's word, this is where it gets crazy and gets the trad wife thing where they just start acting weird and dressing a certain way. It's like you're emulating something. And really, if you look at Titus 2, it actually teaches women and men what they're supposed to be for the younger generation. We are to be role models. We are to be examples for our children and the people around us. The younger women in the church, they should be looking at older women on how they are to be in the home. And a trad wife is not the thing. It's not. It's too far one direction. Right. And I would say this, ladies, if you're sitting out there, especially you young people that are, a Zoomer, by the way, is Gen Z. I looked it up. It's just another name. Of course, they're going to come up with everything. If you are in the millennial, Gen Z, whatever category, and you think the trad wife is the thing, I want to really encourage you to go to the Word of God and start looking at what the Word of God says. That is our map book. That is our guide to life. It talks to you how to be a wife. It talks to you about how to be a virtuous woman, which is what we want our women here at Roots Church to be, is virtuous women. You get virtuous woman down, all the areas are covered.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
Strive to be that, and quit looking at Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, and all the other nonsense out there to be a mom and to be a wife and everything else. There are a lot of good people out there on these platforms, but make sure they're biblical based instead of doing what these people are doing.
Yeah. Most of them are probably not.
No.
What about trad husbands? Like, what if I have a kid? Well, when I have kids one day, hopefully. What if Jake stays home with our kid?
That's not a trad husband.
I'll slap him right across the face.
I don't think there's anything wrong with...
I'll slap the trad husband out of him.
Do I get to bring my kid to work
I mean,
one
if
day?
it's a season...
Listen, if Chelsea made $1 million a year, I'd be like, all right, I'll stay home with the kids.
Well, I don't make $1 million a year, Eric. I don't know if you know this.
Part of the reason... I'm not for that, but if Kinsey made a bunch of... I'd be like, yep, I'll do this for free.
I don't think Jake would, and no matter what. That's not his personality.
No, but I think what you're saying
God
is
designed us.
Either way, trad wife or trad husband, it's not balanced. It's not biblical.
Yep, it's
It's too far on the pendulum this way or this way, and it's ridiculous, and you look ridiculous. I'm going to just say it. I thought it was a joke. I did
too. I thought it was a joke.
You talking about like the Laura Ingalls Wilder dresses, like
I have
Little
no-
House on the Prairie?
It's the 50s. We don't live that way.
Strange.
I love the homemaking stuff though. Like honestly,
fine.
like I'm. How old am I? We're 28,
28,
right?
yeah.
28 years old. There are so many skills that were lost to my generation, I feel like, because we were pushing college, career so hard. Like, I can look at your 401k portfolio and help you rebalance it. I can underwrite an insurance policy. I can design graphics. But dude, I can't make sourdough for the life of me. I can't figure out how to iron over here correctly. So it's like,
listen, I would rather have a Stepford wife
I don't even know what that is.
You've never seen the movie Stepford Wife?
I don't.
It's like
clearly
robot
They're like
wives.
robot women. They just do
Oh.
whatever their husbands tell
That
them.
is a trad.
My wife
Yeah.
is still in training.
Oh,
We need to
Lord.
bring back Betty Crocker.
I got to send her
That's what we
back
need
to
to bring
that
back.
off the leash place.
Oh, off the leash, Valley Park. I know. That's right by my house. That's funny.
When my wife gets out of control, I take her up there to off the leash.
Whatever.
Well, like Austin, I've talked to Kenzie before about how to make your own detergent and
Yep.
make your own cleaners because so much of it's bad. Those are skills that have been lost.
Yes,
and
they
so what's
have.
happened is it's like through the roof. Like now you better not even feed your kids something out of a can. It better be straight
is
from the garden.
Why my wife is so successful in her entrepreneurship of seamstress, because that is a
It's
dying.
a lost
Yes.
art.
That is a
gosh.
dying.
I don't know how to sew a button on. Jake
Yeah.
does. I don't.
Yeah. No.
Trad husband.
I don't
he's
know
on
how to
his
use
way.
a sewing machine. I used to. My grandma, man, she was the queen of sewing machines.
what I'm saying.
Exactly.
We would go to Walmart whenever I lived with my grandma, or Kmart, and we would literally, well, in Doniphan it was called Fred's. That was the name of the department store, Fred's. We'd go there and they'd have this fabric area,
Mm-hmm.
and you could go pick out your outfit in a little packet.
Yep.
Yes,
And
I
that
remember
packet,
that.
you just pick your material and go home, and my grandma would make me an outfit. And
I mean, they
I'd
still
wear
do
it.
that for sure.
I know.
Yeah, the patterns.
That was the way. Now, Austin's over there like,
What? I didn't know that was a thing.
yeah, you could make shirts, pants, dresses.
Listen,
I'm
if you guys
saying.
need custom clothes,
Bits
bits
and
and
bobbins.
Come on.
bobbins, sewing and
There we
alterations,
go.
shameless plug.
There we go.
She does all custom.
What's the name of it again?
Bits and bobbins, sewing and
Bits and
alterations.
bobbins.
Isn't that the
and
cutest name? I think
is
that
cute.
name is so cute, so
I like it.
catchy.
Those are sewing.
But really, I'm
terms,
taking
but-
stuff over to Eric's wife to have it hemmed because I don't know what I'm doing. She's like, "Oh, that's an easy hem," and I'm like, "Yeah, for you, Chelsea, not for me."
Can she make a suit?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the Crown Royal like tuxedo
Oh,
jacket?
that was
she
cool.
made?
She sent me that.
Oh, she's so cool.
Yeah, she made a suit coat out of the Crown
That's-
Royal look.
Oh, the
fabric.
Oh, wow.
Of those Crown Royal
Yes,
bags.
The baggies.
Or she took like one of the guys on worship. She took their fire jackets and made backpacks for kids out of the fire jackets.
Really?
Yeah.
She is talented.
Wow.
I can't even sew a button, and she's just making stuff from whatever.
Homemaker.
It happens.
It's because when I get off work, I go home
And,
and I get
I'm taking my headphones
I get
off.
her to get off. I'm just kidding. Okay.
Not
Jeez.
listening.
Let's talk
All
about
right.
the next topic
All
before
right,
we hit
next
back
topic.
in that pit. So listen to this headline. Let me get my readers back on. Woke people more prone to unhappiness, anxiety, and depression, study finds.
Yep.
Does this surprise anybody?
Nope.
Absolutely
Not
not.
A recent study
Gross.
published by the Scandinavian Journal of Psychology last week found that woke people were less satisfied with their lives and were more prone to unhappiness, anxiety, and depression. The initial study included 851 adult participants, with the majority of them associated with the University of Turku, while the second included 5,030 Finnish citizens. So again, I know this is, not in our area, so to speak, but this does not surprise me one bit. Wokeness is jokeness.
Come
It's
on.
such a joke, and people, again, it's one of these things where it's like a trend. We're going to go out and be woke because we want to be aware.
Right.
We want to wake up and be aware of all the nonsense that's out there, and we need to accept anybody and everybody. And I'm telling you, it's killing our society.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's killing it.
Well,
And
it's
again,
like-
guess
yeah.
who? Young people.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you go and ingest
Young, dumb, and broke.
McDonald's every day.
Yep.
I say
2
that because
days.
we. Okay.
2 days in a row. Okay.
All right, Becca, you did eat McDonald's
Leave us
today and
alone.
yesterday.
You
But
bullied me.
if you ingest that every day, you're gonna feel the effects of it. It's the same thing. If you're going out and looking for all this bull crap every day, man, yeah, of course you're gonna be anxious and all of that.
Sure.
Of course.
Yeah, I liken it to it's they're building their lives on a lie.
Yep.
It's this
agree.
false
Perception.
It's this false perception, which reminds me of the building your house on sand. When you build your house on the sand and the storms of life come and it blows,
Yep.
poof.
good.
Well, guess what? Build your life on the foundation, on the rock, which is Jesus Christ, and you won't be confused. You
Yep.
won't even be lured in by wokeness.
Yep.
Because you'll know the truth, and when you know the truth, it'll set you free. So that's just my. That's all I can think about.
go.
Is just the foundation, man.
The study found that people adhering to woke ideology suffered 7.9% higher for anxiety, 32.5% higher for depression, and 4.5% higher for unhappiness, the Blaze reported.
Wow.
It doesn't surprise me.
No,
I'm just reading this, and I'm just blown away at the stupidity that I'm looking at.
It's ridiculous.
Well, and I think it's hard because there are literal, like, what would be the word? Like physiological reasons that people are more like depression, for example, has like genetic components to it. Anxiety has to do with like chemical imbalances. Like there are certain things to this, but what happens is you have someone who just wants to be a victim. They seek entitlement. They want everything handed to them, or they don't want to entertain any other perspective than their own. And they give these things like a bad rep almost. Like, because there are actual, like, I know people who struggle with those things. I sometimes have get anxious about things.
I struggle with depression.
But what do? I turn to the Word of God, or I turn to wise counsel. I don't turn to the internet and other people and all these things to get me through that.
She turns to me, Lord.
to me, Lord.
That ain't it, dog.
Well,
Pastor dog.
That ain't it, dog.
Pastor dog.
Pastor dog.
I mean, true wokeness, like the extreme wokeness, is really a mental.
Yes.
It's a mental health
100%.
issue.
Yep.
Like in and of itself.
Yep.
So,
Nearly 30% of Gen Z women identify as LGBTQ.
plus
30
IABCD.
30%
That's
of
crazy.
Gen Z.
That's not my generation. Don't be looking at
You know,
us.
I'm going to tell you what has messed
It's our
all this up. You
producers.
ready? You want to know what's messed all this up?
Hmm.
Social media.
Yeah.
Social media has
It
ruined
is. It's a monster.
our generation
But
because
can
when you
also
go
be a
on there
ministry.
and you see all these influencers on there, these influencers are making more money than most CEOs of large
crazy.
Fortune 500 companies,
Yep.
all to give their opinion. These guys are uneducated idiots is what they are.
Mm-hmm.
I would say for the most part, yeah.
We're also uneducated idiots for receiving it and then taking it for the truth and not saying, let me just think for myself for a second. What
Yeah.
does this actually mean? Is this person qualified?
Yeah.
I'm looking up the word
It's a
idiot.
It's a
You
disaster.
know what it is? Very
Looking up-
stupid. That's the definition. Just in case if somebody's out there going, I can't believe you're calling the names. They're very stupid people.
Yeah.
You want to look up the word stupid? Let's just go down this
Oh,
rabbit.
man.
Oh, gosh.
We're going to be in the Latin here in
The
a minute.
English language.
Just
We're
go
gonna
straight
get-
to the Latin.
We're
The
going to
word-
get kicked off
Here
of
you go.
YouTube.
The word stupid is having or showing a great lack of intelligence or common sense.
Yeah.
Common sense. It's right there. There it is.
Those words mean something, and it's not what everybody thinks. We
Yep.
need to actually let people know they're more stupid because they are. I mean, they have lack of intelligence.
Yep.
They have no common
No, that's
sense.
true.
I mean, literally, come on. You're telling me that you have common sense to think that if you're a man with a penis, you think you're a woman.
Yeah, no, I can't defend that.
There's no common
it's a
sense in
no
that.
from me,
It's a no.
dog.
They
Do you
can't
think it's
defend it.
common sense?
No, they can't.
Do you think it's common sense that a man who thinks he's a woman, who has a penis, but yet wants to play in women's sports is fair?
No.
Absolutely not fair.
There's no common sense.
But it's because
you
he's a
are
mental
unintelligent to
illness.
think that is okay.
Can we talk about the Leah Thomas thing?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, let's talk about it. I mean,
Who's this?
Leah Thomas.
The swimmer.
Yeah.
he
Oh,
He.
okay.
But they
wait,
just
Oh.
ruled on giving all of the awards to the other girl. Like they stripped him of all
Good,
of his
they did.
awards.
Good. I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
This,
this was
Riley
when
Gaines,
he was in the
I think, is
pool.
the girl.
They
Thank
stripped him
you,
of all of
Jesus.
his awards and
Yep.
gave them all to Riley Gaines.
Is it NCAA?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, it's
yeah.
right here. 16 female athletes sue NCAA over trans policy.
Let's
Wow.
go.
That's a win.
Riley
That was weird.
Riley Gaines has been fighting and
Yes.
fighting and fighting for this, and thank God it's
Yeah.
actually coming true.
Get it,
Yeah.
Riley. Queen.
Yep.
Trying to see if I see anything.
That's a
in
big
here.
win.
That is a huge win. Yeah, it's just yeah, this is awesome. It's good stuff.
I'm just thinking, women's
What are you
sport.
thinking?
Well, women's sports is diminishing. Like
Mhm.
the involvement from the kind of intramural level, high school, all that kind of stuff. Women's sports is not that great to begin with. But that's why I'm saying that, because I'm like,
Watch it.
Are
You're gonna
these-
get in trouble.
I don't care. Okay, who goes to a WNBA basketball game? Like, they have to force people to go to that. But my point is,
You're not wrong.
are these guys like thinking that they're gonna infuse like something into
No, these guys are a
sports,
bunch of pansies,
or they
and they can't win in the men's league,
That's
so
what
they
I'm
got to go to the
saying.
women's league to
so,
get rewards.
So is that why they're doing it, to like
There is this
create a spectacle? Like
there is this bar that popped up. I don't know if you guys read about the bar. They're trying to like chain it out.
Like
and,
a bar.
And they only play women's sports at this bar.
Oh
It's
my
a sports bar, and they only play.
Oh.
I think they're going bankrupt though.
I would say they probably are.
Yeah, well,
We
That
live
stuff is
in a
ridiculous.
drunk, confused world.
Yes.
This world is drunk and high. I'm just telling you. It's insane.
Well, think about it like
That's
men.
why we need Jesus.
Men
Come
who
on.
want to go play women's sports. Like, what if, just a scenario, but like, say, like, there are people, I can't remember what it's called, but there are people who now identify as a person with disabilities.
I heard Becca twice.
I know, that was spooky.
Oh.
I didn't know it was happening. Anyway.
Kinsey, what was that? Our producer? No, that was me. I'm sorry.
I was like, I saw
Apologies.
you touch the button. Anyway, there are people who identify as someone with a disability. So, like, I saw this thing about this girl who identifies blind.
Yeah.
And it's like,
And she's
first
not.
of all, ridiculous. Second of all, who's to stop someone from being like, oh, I identify as someone with a disability, even though I ran that 400-meter dash in 50 seconds, I'm going to go to the Special Olympics. I'm going to go smoke all of them out of the water. It's the same context.
Is that the
It's next.
Is that the woman though who like physically like poisoned her eyes to where she
That
is?
is
I've
a
heard of
thing.
that.
People do.
it's like
I didn't
self,
see that.
It's not mutilate.
Yeah,
it?
self
It
mutilation.
is self-mutilation, yeah.
That is sick.
Jesus,
That's a
that is
real
She
thing.
literally
mental
blinded
disorder.
herself to then identify
She's
as
like,
a
she's like,
disability.
yeah. I felt that I was supposed to be born blind, so I just went ahead and did it.
Isn't that
She has a
nuts?
deficiency. It's called a brain.
Oh, jeez.
A mental illness
she forgot,
for sure.
God forgot to put the brain in there or something. I mean, I don't know what's going on with that, but anybody that does that is just a moron. I'm sorry.
God's up
you
there
can't.
like,
I don't.
"Achoo."
You call me a
Oh, no.
pastor. You can call me a jerk. You can call me whatever you want. If you're gonna go self mutilate so you can be something, you are an idiot.
God forgot to put a brain.
Dude, well, I just feel like I'm sharing crazy stories. So never mind.
I have to go soon. Just letting you know.
I have a meeting.
We need to end this anyway because I'm starting to feel my blood pressure go up
This is hot.
over here. When I just start hearing this nonsense, I
It
just can't
drives me
deal with it,
nuts.
man. I mean, God did not create us like this.
No.
He did not create us like this at all. The enemy is definitely confusing people, and it is sad. And we need to pray for these people for real.
Yep.
And we need to make sure we're educating young people in the right way. That's why we have this show. I
Yep.
think this show is fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been good.
I think it's super fun.
I think it's unfiltered, and it gets a little.
We should do.
I
over
apologize.
there.
It's a little,
Listen,
we should.
I love my wife.
We'll have to.
We know.
We should like we do Devo. We do a Devo every
like
every
Let's do a
Wednesday.
Wednesday
Devo
morning
next time. Let's
hangouts?
just do a Devo.
Well,
next
we
time.
could do that,
Thank God
or
it's
like
not mine.
each person picks a week to like bring a story or something. Like we do Devo?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we could.
I
Like
don't know.
a
I
person's
might regret that.
responsible.
Actually,
You would regret
We
that.
could do that.
never mind.
I
Let's
think
pause
next
on
time
that.
what we'll do
I already
next
have
week.
my topic.
Next week,
ready.
let's do a Devo style
Okay.
unfiltered.
Okay.
Let's do a Devo. I'll lead the Devo. I'll
Okay.
pick the topic, and then we'll just go into the topic, kind of like we did about hell
Yeah.
today. We
Okay.
talked
Yeah.
about hell.
That would be perfect.
Let's do that one next week.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
So
That'll be
here's what
fun.
we'll do next week. So that way you come back is we're going to actually talk about where did Jesus go on Saturday.
Love it.
Ooh.
Let's go.
Right before Easter experiences at Roots.
Yes.
Come on.
Where did he
Perfect
go on
timing.
Saturday? We're going to talk about it. Did he go to hell? Did he go to Abraham's bosom?
I hate that word. Please stop saying it.
Did he go to purgatory?
Where did he go?
Where'd it go?
Jesus,
And we're
where
going
are
to talk
you?
about it, but it's a good subject.
All right.
Cool. Let's
All right.
do it.
I'm
Well,
down.
Sounds
we
good.
love you guys. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Peace out.